What about the advice for parents? So, what would be your best advice for them? How can they protect their children when a gender ideology is already implemented in the school and the textbooks talk about gender identities? What should they do to their if their child comes out as trans?
Okay, so first of all, take a deep breath and try to stay calm and think about it like this is a marathon, not a sprint. I don't know if you use that expression in Macedonia, but
Yes, we
basically it
use
means
the
it's
same.
okay, right? So it might be a while, okay? And you don't want to burn out early, and you don't want to get reactive in a way that's just going to push your child further away. At the same time, don't let your kid bully you. Don't be too agreeable. Don't pretend not to know what you know. Don't pretend not to care about what you care about. But take a deep breath, practice grounding yourself, start bolstering all your own self care, right? Make sure you're getting good sleep. Make sure your relationship with your spouse is strong. Make sure you're exercising and playing an instrument, whatever you do for your self care, because it's not going to help anything if you are a nervous wreck. So that's step one. Okay, step two, you obviously are going to be doing a lot of research, right? So you have to kind of balance taking care of yourself with all the obsessive researching that parents start to do. When you're researching, of course, make sure you're researching what are these kids being exposed to on social media. So a lot of the parents come to me just baffled saying, I can't believe my kid said this thing, right? Fill in the blank. It's always something absurd that their kid said. And they're like, how can he or she possibly think that? And I just kind of break the news to them that actually that's what they're all saying, right? That's what they're all reading online. That's what they're seeing on TikTok. That's the rhetoric that they're learning. And it might sound like they're saying something very unique to them because you've never heard it before and it's shocking. But make sure you're familiarizing yourself with what your kids are paying attention to online. You're going to need to set strict boundaries with their online access. And your kids are probably more tech savvy than you are. So you might need to get some help learning how to effectively set up parental controls that kids can't get around. I would say be clear and consistent with your rules and why you have those rules, and stand on principle. Don't go on the defensive. Don't over explain. Don't raise your voice. Have your principles and don't always let it be about gender. Don't get into a headbutting argument over the issue of gender. When it comes to something like setting limits with your kids' screen time, the rule can be as simple as I need to make sure you get enough sleep to be ready for school in the morning. So all screens are taken away at 9 p.m. You can read a book before bed. That's the rule, right? Don't get into it with the gender issue. The matter of principle is too much screen time is bad for you. You need to get some sleep, right? Same thing with safeguarding their behavior online. You don't have to make that all about gender. It can just be there are strangers on the internet who take advantage of young people. I need to monitor what you're doing. Or, I understand that numerous studies have shown the impact of Instagram on depression and anxiety in adolescents, right? And don't say in teen girls, even though your daughter's a girl, because she's going to say, I'm not a girl, right? So try not to make it about gender, try to make it about basic principles. Same thing with if you're, stopping your kid from getting a binder. Say, I've researched the issue. I found that it can cause, permanent damage to the rib cage, breathing difficulties, and chronic pain. And I'm not comfortable allowing my child to harm themselves. It's my job to get you to adulthood healthy and happy. And you can hate me all you want, but I'm your mom. That's the rule. So try to make it about principles. Don't make everything about gender. Don't take things they say at face value because they've probably been consuming a certain script, a certain narrative online or through their peers and friends in school. And just think of it as maybe the possibility that my kid's in a cult, right? And that they're saying what people say in that cult. Now, your kid will try to reject parts of themselves, parts of you and your family. They're going to rewrite history. They're going to, scream and throw tantrums when you call them their name. They're going to, refer to the name that you gave them as their dead name. They're going to, call you names and try to hold on tight. It can be really painful to, it could be really painful to see your kid treat you that way. But again, stand on principle of this is the name I've given you. It's, you have a nickname at school, you're experimenting with identities, fine. But again, stand on principle. If you refuse to call your daughter he, for instance, have a principle for that. I'm a biological realist. I believe in our sexed bodies, and that's what I base my assessment of someone's sex on. End of story. Try not to get defensive and try to keep a close relationship with your kid, doing things that you've always enjoyed doing together, doing things that your kid loves that are healthy, connecting with family, friends, connecting with your community, people who've always known your kids, people who are positive influences. Hold an expectation that your kid will still participate in those activities, that they will still come to family dinners, that they will still come to your church group if you're a person of faith. And if they want those other people to, quote unquote, recognize their gender identity, it's going to be on them to explain it because you don't agree, right? So a lot of kids want their parents to not only, quote unquote, affirm their identity, but they want their parents to do the work for them of introducing them to people as the he, him, and all of that, right? And don't cave in. Just say, if you want to tell people you have a different name, that's on you, but I'm your mom and I'm not doing that for you. So just hold some boundaries, try to maintain a close connection. Don't get into a dogfight. Don't get defensive. Don't argue over things that are ridiculous, and try to take the pressure off of the gender issue.